Being scammed is a terrible feeling. What's worse is there are several thousand businesses that are disappearing overnight and they don't even know why. And yet it's actually due to a simple scam that takes place on their profile. And they can prevent it. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the 7 scams that are being used currently, or the 7 issues that you need to know about that could easily lead to a suspension to your business. So you'll know exactly what's happened, you'll know exactly what to do and how to avoid these things. And then you can confidently base your time on building your business, optimizing it and ranking higher so you get more customers on Google. But before I explain how this horrendous scam works, I first of all want to explain how you can avoid having your brand hijacked. Millions of businesses are leaving themselves open to being hijacked or even hacked. And it's something you need to be aware of because it happened back in the 90s to Burger King, to British Telecom, and it could happen to your local business today. But there is a simple solution which I'm going to cover in this video today. You may be thinking, why worry? Well, your Google business profile is one of your strongest assets. As we go into the new AI search results that Google is going to go to the profiles and it's going to be serving results based on local businesses. So you'll know from my other videos, it's going to be one of the most important assets you own. So keeping control of your profile on Google Maps is safeguarding your future, your free traffic, your sales from local customers. And of course, it's free. But there is something that's quite concerning, as you can see from these comments. Yeah, these emails are the clues to reacting quickly. If you get an email like this, you have about 3 days to respond, according to Google. So this email is the result of someone trying to claim your business. So literally, they have gone to your business, they've clicked the claim, and then they've tried to activate it. And now you're getting an opportunity to respond because you're down as the owner. But you know, even in Oxford Street, London, there are unclaimed businesses. And these businesses are in danger of becoming hijacked, hacked, and taken over by someone who could use them by a competitor to get more information. So that raises a question, why would anyone want to hijack your business? Well, they can take control, they could put your website down so that any information that comes through to that particular business profile, rather than going to your website, now goes to their website. So potentially they could own your business and your inquiries. And this goes back to what was known in the late 90s as cyber squatting. So what's cyber squatting? How does that work? Well, in the days when no one really had domain names and people were selling domain names, what was happening was a lot of the businesses hadn't caught on to the fact that websites were the way forward. It was a new technology like AI is today. And what was happening is that big companies were realizing that someone had already bought their domain name. So companies such as burgerking.co.uk was owned and then sold to Burger King for £30,000. That's about $38,700. BT.org, or British Telecommunications, they were sold it for £5,600 or $7,300 in its day, as you can see here from this old BBC News item. And these are registered domain names such as Ladbrokes.com, marksandSpencer.com, and even spicegirls.net and buckinghampalace.org were all owned by this company. The rules hadn't really been revised to stop this happening, this cyber squatting. So this is very real for Google business owners today, that someone can hijack your business because you haven't made sure that you're the rightful owner. But when you start looking at other businesses on Google Maps, why is it that some enable you to claim or become an owner and others don't? And this is a question that's hard to answer. I asked some experts and Google doesn't really reveal why it appears on some and not on others. Now, I do think there is an answer to that, but before I answer that, there is an unusual amount of businesses that a hijacker could do that too. I just took a look on Google Maps and all these are potentials. And if you click on these, you see you can get ownership. And then if they don't respond within 3 days, potentially you now can become an owner. So that is something that could easily happen to even a verified business. But back to our main issue. So what can you do to stop this happening, this showing? Should you just register it again? Or will that cause more issues? Well, let's understand why the button's there or the link in the first place. Remember, Google initially was trying to get its database built up of all the shops that are on the high street. And so it's enabled people that can register through Google. They can say there's a business here, they can add a business. It doesn't make them owner, it just means they've registered the business. And so now most high streets have all the businesses in, but not all of them have been claimed by the owners. And that's where you have this kind of difference, it appears. The other thing, of course, is Google recognises that sometimes people sell businesses. So they've enabled this claim a business so that a new owner, if they then purchase a business, they can also claim the Google business profile that goes with it. So I studied hundreds of businesses on Oxford Street, London. And as you can see, this business is no other than in Selfridges, and it's unclaimed. So the key to secure ownership is to claim it, make sure that it's added not just by a Google member, but also added and then claimed by you, the owner. And then if you keep your Google business profile updated, if it's verified, if you then manage it, then the chances are, I think, that that button will eventually get removed because Google will see you're an active manager. Now, if you do need to add a manager or pass ownership, you can do it by going into here. But whatever you do, don't register another business in frustration if you can't get a hold of the ownership straight away, because that will produce a duplicate business, and duplicate businesses often then get suspended, or you get the original business suspended as well. And that then causes even more complications to sort out. Now, I know from many of your comments on here that some find it hard to verify. Perhaps they don't get the postcard, they're not used to using a phone call method or a video verification method, and that seems to be the latest method rather than the postcard method. But actually there are 7 ways you can verify a business. Other comments reveal that some just won't verify their business. And the reason being is they don't want to verify it because they need to then verify the address through the postcard. And they don't want their address known to Google. They don't want the address known to the public. Well, the key is to just not show the address. You can actually toggle that on and off. And although Google needs to know the address because it needs to know where the center of the business is, it needs to know if it's going to be serving local customers, it needs to know where local means. And so your address is a central part of that. But once you've registered it, you can choose whether or not that shows to the public. Now, I have a lot more on the importance of addresses coming up. But as you also may have seen, Google makes a lot of changes without you knowing. But there is a cool way to stop them doing that because it does affect your ranking. So to explain it better, I want you to imagine that you come home from work and suddenly you find that all your furniture has been moved around. Someone's broken in, changed some furniture, thrown some of your furniture out and put some of their own furniture in. How would you feel? Well, now you know what it feels like if you log into your Google business profile and someone else has suddenly gone in there and made all the changes to your business that they wanted to. And what's worse is Google's doing that quite commonly today. And even when you put something back, it then gets moved, as you can see here. Services added, Google takes them away. It could be even reviews. You get good reviews, genuine reviews, suddenly just 5 or 6 drop off. What is going on? And what rights does Google have to do that? And what's more is it's not just Google. It can sometimes even be your competitors doing it. And if you didn't know that goes on, well, this is going to be a reality check to you today on today's video. So over recent months, Google's been making quite a few changes to Google business profiles. They go into your listing and they add automatically things they think may be useful. But often that's not the case. And it's even been known that the main categories, your primary category, which makes a massive impact on your ranking, has even changed. So if you notice a sudden drop in your ranking, it may well be that something Google's just gone ahead, made some changes, rearranged your furniture, and suddenly you're in a situation where you're dropping. And what's worse, they don't even tell you when they've done it. Unless you log in, you wouldn't even know it's happened. And sometimes the updates can be useful, but the problem is you never get to decide. And to just show you how easy it is and how often it goes on, I decided to just log into LaRue window cleaning, which I've not done for a couple of months now, just to see if there's any updates there. And you'll notice here, Google's very clear on these updates. Services were updated. Here, Andy Simpson had all these services updated. Why? Because it's taken them from his website. But many of these things he may not want. And often it can be things that are nothing to do, like dog bite. Is that really going to be helpful as a service? And here again, you just see extra things being added for air conditioning, but it can sometimes even be a primary category. Services were changed based on feedback from Google users or other sources. Review these published updates to make sure they're accurate. Well, if you don't accept it over a period of time, that can just be accepted automatically by Google. So I'm going to head on to LaRue window cleaning services. And as I say, I've not updated this for a few months now. But I know that if I go to, say, let's try this. So quite often you'll find, by the way, if you've not seen that video, that's a really useful tip of how you get social profiles. That was my previous video. Your business location was updated by Google. So there you go. So there's one change they've made, and that they've just made a slight change there where it is. Your hours were updated by Google. So that's interesting. No idea why that is. Let's just try services is often where edits take place. Services were changed based on feedback from Google users or other sources. Review these published. So at this stage now, you can make edits and you can make changes, but they've gone and added extra things as well. The primary category stays the same, but there you go. Velux cleaning was a previous, is now been removed. It just feels incredibly disappointing that although Google is not directly affecting rankings deliberately, and it's not directly scamming businesses, but by not letting you know about those changes to services, without it being clear your hours are being changed, or maybe they've changed reviews, without knowing those things, it's very difficult for a business to trust what Google's doing. I mean, recently Google is even using AI to summarize what your business is about. So without you being involved, it now tells the world that your business does these types of services using AI. Now that's not as trustworthy yet as some would like to believe. Is AI going to get it right every single time about your business? But I now want to cover a really hot topic, a place where some of the biggest scammers congregate.
Made by top freelancers on Fiverr, is destroying the internet.
Destroying the internet? Or could it just be destroying your business? So what if there's a really simple way to get the Google business profile ranking again? Maybe if it's been suspended, to get it back reinstated. If you've got some bad reviews, can you get them removed? These are common questions that most of you are asking, and business owners are desperate to find answers to those problems. And of course, Fiverr is a place where all those solutions seem to be freely available. So could all these Fiverr sellers or gigs, could they really present a solution? Have they really got a quick fix? 50,000 links for £4.20. In fact, that's under a fiver, and that's where the name Fiverr comes from. It's just going to be really cheap. You've got 90,000 citations where you can get these kind of crop circle patterns, but in effect they're pins in a map that are going to then give you links locally. What a boost that must give, surely. You've also got quick Google reinstatements. There's claims where they can claim your business for you, then verify and optimize it for you. How about this, where you can get reviews and ratings? You can just get as many as you want, as many as you could shake a stick at. And also someone here pretending to be, what? Zanet design for £84.10. Well, that's a bargain. And this, and this, and even this. And even the great Stuart Gould, or AKA Abdul Hamid Gibbon. So how he's changed in recent times. So the fact is there's so many people offering great services for such a small price. But is it too good to be true? Is Google the real McCoy? Is it the real solution that you've been looking for? Should I advise my clients to go to Fiverr if they want their suspended profiles reinstated? And I want to get to the bottom of how they go about this. Would Google approve of what they're doing? So here's one of the conversations I had where, in effect, the nitty-gritty of it, when I boiled it down to how he could get my suspended businesses reinstated, was the proof was down to the fact that, well, he had a mate who worked at Google apparently. So really doesn't sound quite what I was expecting to hear. If Google can't reinstate it for me above board, then I've then got to go through the back door, the hole in the fence, as it were, to get them a reinstated profile. But is that going to last long? especially if Google cracks down or if that person gets found out, all those accounts then will be suspended again. Now at this point I just want to say that I'm not picking on anyone on Fiverr. They have to earn a living, and some of them do some really great work as well. So not all can be tarred with the same brush. But what I am trying to do is protect you from doing the wrong thing. As you'll see later in this video, it can have a devastating effect on your business if you get this wrong. And as you know, I say on this channel that slow and steady wins the race. I know that Google rewards people that are prepared to put in a little bit of extra work, and that's what this channel has been about and is continuing to benefit businesses. If you look at the comments, you'll see many businesses are successfully now optimized by following the process on this channel. But whereas slow and steady wins the race, there's always another proverb that goes the opposite way, which says strike while the iron's hot. So some would just say get in there quickly, get it reinstated. So let's go a bit deeper now and see exactly what it is that they offer and why it can be damaging. So here GMB Expert claims that he can add 75,000 pins for £4.20 and that my business will rank higher. He says it will build trust. Well, I'm not too sure on that, because would trust be built on manipulating someone to put 40 or 75,000 pins in a map? Does that make my business any better for that? Well, you can judge for yourself. But if you dig a bit deeper, you'll see that the outcome is that Google may not be able to detect it yet. And that's his claim. If you see what he puts there, that when I really boiled it down with him in his conversation, he just said that Google can't detect what he's doing. But here's where it really gets interesting, because actually, even if Google can't detect it now, they may detect it in the future, but the pins themselves actually don't give you any ranking benefit at all. So you're taking a risk and you don't even get any benefits straight away. And I can say this because Darren Shaw did exactly that. What he did is he had an account where he purchased pins, and according to his video,
I saw no impact on rankings. I've given it like 3 months, nothing. So I ordered it on December 8th. Didn't really do anything. So Shaw Electrical is a listing for testing purposes, and nothing else happened. So there you have it. I've basically saved you $50 on Fiverr.
So ranking doesn't actually benefit from these pins, these citations. So you pay £5 or you pay £50 and you get all these links, but actually not only do they make no difference to ranking, but if they're citations or if they're links, they can also do even more damage than that. And that's where this investigation goes on another level. But while I'm here in Fiverr, just notice what a great logo and design this person has. I think you may be familiar if you've been subscribed to my channel for some time. You'll see that's an older video thumbnail that I've used. In fact, let me compliment them on the awesome graphics that they've got there and their logo, and just say that, well, they say that no publicity is bad publicity. So obviously I'm being seen by others too. So let's leave that message for Rapid Man and see what he comes back with. And a few moments later in the email he comes back, "Hi there, thank you for the compliment." So he seems to be enjoying my thumbnails. Anyway, as you can see, the general feeling is, and this is what I'm getting from all the contacts I'm now making and discussing in Fiverr, is most are just saying that they have a friend and support that can give them the reinstatement. So in effect, you're risking your business with someone who really has no investment in your business and can just then drop your business straight away if it suddenly gets suspended. But all this is even more negative if it now damages your business. And that's what I then found out. And looking a bit deeper into it, I can see that it does harm your business. Why? And how does that work? We need to understand this bit. This is really important. So here is Bob, a Google quality rater. And for those unaware, Google hired Bob along with many thousands of individuals around the world, and their aim is to rate websites, to rate businesses, to look at Google business listings and profiles, and to record whether or not that business and that brand, whether or not it performs in various ways and in a variety of areas. And they have guidelines, thick guidelines that they use. We often refer to the acronym for this as EEAT. EEAT stands for expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And these are human elements that are used by Bob and others to decide on whether or not this business is trustworthy. So what do they find if they see a business that's been using some of the tricks that we've looked at on Fiverr? Those using links and citations on Fiverr soon realise that actually doing so, in effect, you're just putting spammy links and spammy citations onto your website. And Bob can detect that, as can often the spam filters as they continue to increase their ability to check this. And those links then hurt your business. And unless you get rid of them, they're going to continue to hurt your business. So Bob will see them, he'll easily determine that they're purchased or they're spammy links, and then he will physically penalise your site. And you may never recover from that. And that's not the end of it, because then bear in mind also, Google also is aware of how long people spend on your website. So if you've got 10,000 links and people that come along those links to your website are not interested in your business whatsoever because they've come from just a non-relevant website, something nothing to do with your business, and they're just going to come through to the website and then click back off it. And that's known as bounce rate. So if your bounce rate goes up and up and up, it's telling Google, it's signaling to Google, no one's interested in your business, no one wants your products. And so that will continue to downgrade your authority in Google. So Bob will see this, he will black mark your business, he will say it's got little experience, little expertise because no one hangs around. It's not authoritative because the links don't seem to be relevant to what you're doing. And do I trust it? Probably not. So although I really despise the way Google handles problems on genuine businesses, and I've been there myself, and I really don't like the way that you can be suspended when you've done nothing wrong, and that Google give no clues whatsoever to help genuine businesses, and I really want this to change. On the other side of the coin, Google is trying to fight spammers and stop these link farms and these false citations making businesses rank that don't deserve to rank. And I think that's unfair on the genuine businesses that do deserve to rank. And it does seem unfair then on our genuine businesses. I mean, they do deserve to rank higher. Like, let's say Fred here. Fred's a small business owner. He's just about to visit his Google business profile and he's just noticed he's got a review. How exciting for Fred. But wait, what? That's not fair. It's a 1-star review. And not just any review, it's a fake review. He's worked so hard. What's Google doing allowing that? He's heard about these fake reviews before and he's heard they're going around. He's even heard that they're sometimes used by competitors to drag down your hard-earned reputation online. Don't worry, Fred, I've got you covered. Because in this video, I'm going to take you through the process that I use to get these fake reviews sorted out. Even better, this video is a complete guide to fake reviews, how to improve bad reviews and gain a good reputation online. So by the end of this video, you'll be in a much better position to get 5-star reviews and to build your reputation back to where it belongs. You know, the trouble is most business owners don't handle fake reviews very well. In fact, they get it totally wrong. It's a UK expression, but they get their knickers in a twist, as it were. And most of the business owners I've helped over the past few years have just made it go from bad to worse. So it's really important to get the first few steps right before you start trying to resolve this issue. So let's get it untangled for Fred, as it were, before he makes it any worse. So Fred has several steps and choices to make in a certain order. So I've put together on this video those 7 steps, and so Fred's situation can be resolved and you can follow along too if you've got a similar situation. And then before no time at all, Fred will hopefully get his credibility back. So this is step number 1. I call this analyze the review. So what does this mean? Well, you've come across this review, but you're saying it's a fake review. And that's fair enough. It's a 1-star review. It's not something you want, but you need to make a moment to assess the situation. Does the review lack information? Is there substantial information with it? Is it from an unfamiliar source? Sometimes you panic and you assume it's a fake review, and then you recognize the name of the person who's reviewed it, and actually it was a customer. Could it just be that what they're saying isn't true? Could it be they've had a bad experience? Could it be it's just a 1-star review because they have a genuine complaint? Well, this is where you need to assess it. This is the first step, is just calm down, back off and think, is this review a genuine review, but it's just a bad review, not a fake review? So then on to step number 2. And this is the biggest mistake everyone makes, and it's that they make a reply. If you reply to that review, whether it's fake or a bad review, immediately you've told Google you've accepted it. So do not reply. But first of all, just hold off and think it through. A reply signals to Google that you've acknowledged the review's validity. And then it becomes almost impossible to then resolve that problem. So we'll tell Fred to just hold off a second and think about who wrote it. And at this point you come on to then step 3, and step 3 is a bit of a multi-choice. It's a bit of a, do you turn left or do you turn right? And it's all dependent on what you've assessed from steps number 1 and 2. So in step number 1 and 2, you've worked out either it's a bad review from a genuine customer or it's a fake review from someone who's just trying to pull your reputation down. So if it's a fake review, let's take that one first of all. So we'll call this step 3B, fake review. So what we need to do now is then flag it with Google. So just say to Google, this is not acceptable. You can then just make it or mark it, flag it as inappropriate because it's a fake review. So you just go to those 3 dots, flag it as inappropriate. You can categorize it as a fake review because it's not reflective of a genuine experience with your business. And this action signals to Google that basically someone has broken or violated the policy of how they act within Google profile. So at this point, you're now absolutely in the clear and Google now needs to respond to that. But what about if it was 3A, where you chose to say, actually, this is someone is a genuine customer, but they've just given me 1 star. I'm not happy. Maybe there's no detail. Maybe there is some detail. What do you do with that? Because we want that to become a 5-star. Well, that's 3A. Just think about whether it's fair or not, address the problem that's been raised by the customer. So is it something you can just phone him up and speak to him and say, I'm really sorry. Just say I'm sorry and then see what you can do to resolve it. Because quite quickly, you can turn a 1-star into a 5-star by handling a situation really well. Sometimes it could just be bad communication. Maybe it's a member of staff that acted in a poor way on your behalf, and yet you're the one who's missing out. But just try and work out from the person what exactly happened and what can be done to resolve it professionally. And you know, when you look at reviews, you expect to have negative reviews or bad reviews on a business. When you go to a hotel, you expect to see there's always going to be the bad reviews as well as the good ones. In fact, having bad reviews kind of validates a little bit of the fact that the business is like all other businesses. If you do a search, you'll find every business has bad reviews. And interestingly, that's why Google doesn't expect every business to have a 5.0 review. In fact, it averages about 4.3 it's looking for. So having 4.3, 4.5, Google likes that because that kind of shows an average business doing well because you're going to get bad reviews. So I did a video on this where I showed that I think 4.3 is better as an average on your reviews than 5.0. So I'll put a link to that video just here because you do want to see that one if you haven't seen it before. So we move on to step 4 now. So we've handled the situation, but there's one thing you need to do is to understand the content policies. Familiarize yourself with what Google says is a violation and what its policies are when it comes to reviews. And that can be helpful because again, it will help you work out whether it's a fake review and how then to handle the situation. Now, for example, the content policy says that content should accurately represent genuine experiences. So if a person didn't have the experience they're claiming they had, then it's a fake review. Posting fake content to manipulate ratings also violates Google's policies. So you just need to know a little bit about the policies, and then when you speak to Google and communicate with Google, you can show that you know what you're talking about because you've read the policies, and they will expect you to do that before you contact them. And then you move on to step number 5. And now, if Fred's got a bit of patience, he'll be fine with this. But if Fred's beginning to kind of expect something to happen straight away, he may struggle with step 5. Because step 5 is all about, after reporting it, just allowing some time. Just be patient. It might take a few working days for Google to look into it and to then process your report. But in most cases, a fake review should just disappear. They won't tell you, you'll just go back and suddenly realize it's no longer there. And that's it. That's kind of then the end of that step. You can then get back on to building up a good reputation again. But step 6 is a bit more if time goes by. So allow a week. If after 7 days Google's still not looked into it, then you may want to contact them again. And again, if you get this wrong, it can make it worse. So what do you need to do here? Well, from my experience, I found that if you've got, say, 3 or 4 other members of staff, get them to report it too. And the key thing is here is that they need to report the same violation. So if you say it's spam, then they need to report it's spam. If they say it's something different like harassment, hatred, bullying, that would then cause like a new violation, and that will not help sort the problem out. So you just need other people and your staff members to contact Google and report it as well. And if Google sees 3 or 4 genuine reports of a fake review, then they'll tend to deal with it a lot quicker, and you'll then find it gets processed quicker too. So at this point, Fred's happy, he's got his fake review removed. Google's handled it quite quickly, and he's a pleased bunny. A pleased bunny? I've never used that expression before. So we now need to look at the most horrendous one yet, and it's called the 2-pin scam. Imagine waking up to finding your business has just dropped off the map. You're getting no inquiries. Google Maps just doesn't show your business any longer. Well, in this video, we're going to dive straight into a scam that's really affecting businesses. Their rankings are disappearing overnight, and there's something you need to do about it. So you won't want to miss any of this video today. So you know how it is, you've been running your business smoothly, you pop onto Google Business Profile, you update it with a post, make sure your hours are correct, you do everything that you normally would do with running a business online. But suddenly, without knowing it, your Google Business PIN gets hijacked. And this is the most horrendous scam out there at the moment, and it's causing thousands of suspensions every day. So if you think your rankings are safe, you might just want to think again. Joy Hawkins put it perfectly. She said, "This is nuts. I've seen this several times in the last few weeks." Darren Shaw from Whitespark says, "Many businesses have reported their locations being altered without their knowledge, resulting in immediate ranking drops or suspensions when corrections are attempted." So this is for real. So what exactly are scammers doing, and what can you do to prevent them doing it to your business today? Well, first of all, you need to be aware that anyone can suggest certain changes to businesses. And one of the changes that Google's enabled people to do is to go in and to change the actual area where the pin is shown on the map. And unfortunately, Google tends to accept pretty much any edit that's put there within reason. And this is where there's actually 2 types of scams that can now take place with that type of knowledge. The first one's called cluster bombing, and the second one's called location hijacking. So what's cluster bombings? Well, in effect, what happens is a person will look at all his competitors that are above him, and even though they've all got different addresses, he'll move all their pins into one area, into one, say, building, and say the top 19 above him are all then in this one building. What does Google do? Google says, well, you can't have all these, say, 19 plumbers in the same building, therefore they must all be the same business. And suddenly you've got all these businesses that are now considered inaccurate in Google's rankings. And so potentially Google can suspend those businesses because it thinks they're duplicates. Now, of course, if you're one of those genuine businesses that's been tampered with, you get suspended for no good reason. Google shouldn't allow that. But there's also another thing that Google's allowing, and that's location hijacking. And this is just about moving businesses, their pins out of the area. So if they're local to you and they're competing with you locally, if you suddenly then take their pin and you stick them 200-300 miles away, they're no longer going to be competing against you if Google accepts that edit. And look how easy it is to do. Look, here I've just found Trump's golf club in Scotland, and in just a few clicks, I can suggest to Google that, let's say it's in Iceland, shall we? Or somewhere like that. Now, of course, I'm not going to do this. It's ridiculous to do this. Even Google probably won't accept such an extreme, dramatic change. But if it was, say, 50 miles away, it probably would accept it. And if you're moving a pin from a populated area where lots of customers are looking for your services, and you suddenly stick it in the countryside somewhere or in the middle of a lake, well, if Google accepts it, you've got real issues. And you think then, well, the simple answer is is you notice it's happened, you go back and you put it back to where you should be. Well, no. And that's where the second or even the third issue now occurs. If you just go back in and make an edit back to where you should have been, Google now says you're moving a lot of times, and it then suddenly sees that as suspicious and is then suspending businesses. So why would Google allow this ridiculous scam? And is there a solution? So let's just clarify. Google can update categories, they can change your services, they can change your reviews, they can change your hours, your address, where you are on the map. In fact, most things they can rearrange if they want to. They can remove them or they can add them. So you don't have a lot of control over your profile if that's going on and they're not telling you anything about it. Or maybe that isn't quite true. Because there is a tool that's just been released, and it's an excellent little tool and it's incredibly cheap, that will actually solve this problem for you. So let me show you where it is and how you can get hold of it. So I'll put a link down below, and it is literally just $1 a month at the moment on this special terms we've got. And here you can see it in action. So primary categories being a biggest ranking factor, that could destroy your ranking if you get it changed. But this will let you know, it will tell you whether it's changed, whether phone numbers have changed, whether business name has changed. Here in red you can see Google's tried to remove things, and it will notify you when a change has been made. So rather than you not know and then it automatically update, this will let you know when it happens, and you can then reject it or accept it. But at least you'll then get emails or text to let you know when this happens. And there's going to be lots of other features that are coming soon on this tool, but at the moment it's a special promotion that White Spark are doing. So I really recommend, for the safety of your business, that you just get this in place. And if you've got more than one business, it can handle that too. So no issues here if you want to be sure when someone comes in, makes changes, this is going to alert you to it. But what about if you discover some reviews that are fake or not real? Well, deleting fake reviews can be a real challenge, but again, I've put together a video that's going to help you now, so I'll see you on the next video that's going to help you get rid of those fake reviews.